Let's get this over with.
WCW Monday Nitro, number 169, December 7th, 1998. It's always good when you sit down and watch a 3-hour television show, and the first thing the host says is, folks, this has already been a draining day.
I never thought I'd say this, but I'm gonna. I can't wait till Russo shows up. For 2 reasons. Number one, it's going to get even worse. So, like, there's going to be a level of badness where it's entertaining again. And number 2, that's when it switches to 2 hours.
That's the best
This
news.
3-hour Nitro is such a drain on my existence.
Well, you bring up a point there, and you're wondering how, at times, the horrible product of Raw was winning. Raw was a spectacular train wreck. Mm-hmm. This Nitro was just boring. It was rarely bad enough to make fun of. It was just a long, boring, pointless show.
There was more stupid stuff on Raw.
Yes.
Quite frankly. But, I mean, I'm just going to jump to the end here really quick. I mean, seriously.
Should we do the show backwards for fun?
Seriously. They got 30,000 tickets sold, and they advertise a main event of Goldberg versus Bam Bam Bigelow.
That would have been awesome.
For 3 hours.
Kevin Nash comes out here. He adds himself to the match. Whatever you think of that, it doesn't matter. There's a third star in the match. They went like 40 seconds.
Uh-huh.
I mean, come on. So whenever I hear everybody make all the excuses for why WCW died, AOL Time Warner, this, that, the other thing. No, it fucking sucked. That's why it died. Because it fucking sucked.
Because it deserved to.
Let's go on.
So the draining day is that apparently there's why this drained the entire company, I don't know. But they've announced Goldberg versus Bam Bam Bigelow in a non-title match for the main event tonight. To which Shivani says...
Keep that in mind, by the way. A non-title match.
Well, yes.
Why? Well, it was explained last week when they signed the contract. This is a very important detail. Goldberg will not be defending his title until his match with Kevin Nash.
At Starrcade, yes.
So when he faces Bigelow tonight, it's non-title. Right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Shivani says it's non-title and then says, this is one of the biggest main events we've ever had. So right before the show went on the air, Scott Steiner killed Wildcat Willie. One of the best things on the show. They showed clips of it. Scott Steiner should beat up mascots every week. And I mean in 2017.
The best part about it was he's killing Wildcat Willie, and Shivani said something about, you know, this Wildcat Willie's a really nice guy.
Sure he is.
That's how he got sympathy. He's actually a nice guy, playing a cat. It's very mean for Scott Steiner to beat his ass.
He's a mascot. Why would he need sympathy?
Because otherwise, why is Scott Steiner beating up fucking Wildcat Willie? Why should we care?
Because he's a jerk.
No, he's a nice guy.
No, Steiner.
Oh, yeah. Of course, we know that.
I laughed. That's all I care. That's all I know about. That's all I know and all I care about. Speaking of Scott Steiner, they recapped all the nonsense with his heel ref on Nitro and Thunder.
Would you like to recap it, Vinny? I'll do it for you. It's also a very important detail. Steiner's out of his mind. He's killing people, including executives.
And mascots.
He's a madman. Therefore, the referees were all afraid of Scott Steiner.
Mm-hmm.
So he decided, I'll just get my own referee. Am I missing any part of this puzzle?
No.
Okay. Go ahead.
So Scott is a madman. He says some very offensive things. Forgive me, everyone, but he says the only things from Texas are steers and queers.
It's not true, by the way.
Thank you, Craig.
There's other things.
They have cacti.
Are you telling me Scott Steiner's a liar?
Yes.
He bends the truth a bit, yes.
So he runs down Texas men for a while, asks for an ovation for Hollywood Hogan, which at first I was sure he said Halloween Hogan, which would be a better gimmick, honestly. Told them all to bow to him.
The luchador in red and yellow.
Yeah, sure. I think he challenged Scott Hall tonight. I really wasn't sure.
He did.
He rambled around. This was not a very good promo. Nitro party clips. Got 2 things to say. New rule. Fat guys in t-shirts and shorts don't get to cut Ric Flair promos. Just don't. However, this party did have their own Nitro girls. Therefore, it's a thumbs up Nitro party. And on that note, they came back. The Nitro girls had already danced once. Now they danced a second time.
Yeah, there wasn't a match in the ring until...
You gotta get your money's worth.
16 minutes into the show was the first match.
Right.
Because...
But that's without commercials on the network.
Also true. Also true. Because after the Nitro Girls have danced twice, now it's time for a Tigress video package.
Can you imagine they put this on the air? And it went 2.5 minutes.
Seemed longer.
Talking about her love of dance. They've got her dance teacher on there.
She used to be an accountant. She works for Lisa Lopez. She's a full-time dancer. She's Puerto Rican. She has a choreographer. She likes making people smile.
What in the hell were they thinking?
She used to work for Lisa Lopez.
Well, at the time she did.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Thanks, Craig.
She's gone.
We're watching an old show. Just
Now
so
I-
you know.
No, one of them's dead. That's why.
Well,
While Craig does whatever Craig is doing, I must apologize. I skipped over a match. Kendall Windham versus DDP.
yeah, where are you?
I skipped this match. God forbid. What a tragedy that I did not talk about this match. In all seriousness, this match began 60 minutes into the show. It ended 18 minutes into the show. Page 1 with the diamond cutter.
Yeah, he tried to idiot-proof this match with Kendall Windham. It was all right. And I've said this before, but every time I see it, his diamond cutter setups are so antiquated. After seeing Randy Orton hit guys from virtually every conceivable position, doing every conceivable spot.
Almost out of nowhere.
But man, the place just goes nuts for it. The whole spot was, I'll whip you to the corner and hit you on the way out. And the announcer's like, my God, a brand new setup for the diamond cutter. They couldn't believe their eyes.
Randy Orton is in fact smoother and more graceful than DDP.
It's not just that, it's more modern.
It also has all been done before. That is true. Then we had the Tigress video package. Recaps of the Goldberg Nash Bigelow angle from last week. Then it's Norman Smiley versus Prince Aaka. The second match begins 25 minutes into the show, plus commercials.
Way to go, Head Up versus Raw. Prince Aaka versus Norman Smiley.
Yeah.
Bad match, Smiley wins. Who gives a fuck?
Norman's out there in his small trunks and no knee pads doing all kinds of pelvic thrusting.
My wife saw his dance and went, ew,
Well, better luck next time, Norman.
I guess.
Everybody who is in wrestling in like a management position should just watch all of these shows. Why are we the only ones doing this? Everybody should be doing this. There's so much to learn from this. I mean, it's patently obvious, but
So Norman kicks out of a top rope splash for whatever reason. This second match on Nitro needs WrestleMania near falls. And then he goes for a crossface chicken wing, and he can't get it, and he can't get it, and he can't get it, and he can't get it. And then Aaka just submits 2-0.
well, Tony said he cranked his neck.
Do you know what he actually did? It was actually very close to that hold Jinder uses that I like to make fun of. I think Jinder's was actually more involved, because at least he has a half Nelson.
Well, you know Norman Smiley works for WWE now, so it's very likely he gave that hold
Maybe
to
he did.
Jinder
I
Mahal.
hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
This was a terrible match. Although I did like at the very end, Norman is doing his Lou dance in the middle of the ring, and just over his shoulder there's a sign in big letters reading, "Feel the Wang."
Yeah, I saw that sign.
Time travel. Eddie Guerrero on Thunder chewed out Rey Mysterio and said Hoovy is the person in the LWO who are getting cruiserweight title shots. And then Shivani, who was there to interview with him, towering over all of them, says, actually, Eddie, WCW has booked Rey versus Hoovy in a top contenders match. So Eddie throws a tantrum. We're back on Nitro. Jane brings Eddie out for a promo. Eddie says Rey is selfish and needs to be disciplined. He brings out Silver King, and they spoke in Spanish for a bit, and they left together.
Silver King, he's cutting this promo, and he sounds exactly like Dr. Wagner Jr., which he should, because he's his brother.
Funny how that works.
But it was just mind-blowing to me. I was like, he sounds exactly like Wagner. Like, if I didn't know better, I'd think they were related.
Huh.
I can't say anything. I'm the person who once pointed out Big Papa Pump sounds like Scott Steiner. I did say that. So we got Silver King versus Rey Mysterio Jr.
Finally, the show turned around.
This match was awesome.
They had a couple of sloppy spots where, like, Ray came off the top of the diving Hurricane Rana and Silver King just forgot what was going on.
You know what, though? Like, I could tell they fucked it up, but the fact that Ray flew through the air, collided with this guy, and just went splat on the mat, I think that was cooler than if they'd done it right.
Sure,
It was great.
Plus, they didn't go back to it.
No?
Silver King just looked at him like he meant to do it, and they kept going.
Yes.
These two guys were so... This match was only like 3 minutes long.
I know.
But it felt longer and better.
And
That's rare.
And a really anticlimactic finish, to be honest with you.
They were up on the top, and Ray had a top rope fame asser and pinned him.
I think it was anticlimactic because you didn't expect a top rope fame-asser to be the finish.
Correct.
But if you go into it expecting that, if you get hit with a top rope fame-asser, actually I think it was a bulldog.
It was a bulldog.
But anyway.
My mistake.
Yeah.
It
was a great
could have been
finish.
either or, though, the way it was done.
He jumped off and he fell on his face and he pinned him.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I liked it. I
was a
loved it.
Excellent wrestling match.
I adored it.
Goldberg arrived at the building, shirt tucked into his jeans, carrying the world title belt in his hand and no bag. Nash blocked his path and protested. He says there's going to be no match with Bigelow tonight, and they all rant and rave at each other and whatever. Wrath versus Renegade.
Oh, this.
Well, first Disco comes out, and he calls out Konnan.
No, that's next. We can talk about it now, if you want to.
Was it really at before? I had it written down first. I don't know how. Well, anyway, he calls him out.
I no longer care, so go ahead.
He says, Konnan, why don't you tell everybody the big news? Conan's like, well, I don't know what the news is, and if you don't tell me, I'm gonna dump you on your head or something. Because, Konnan does a lot of suplexes. Disco says, Kevin Nash put me in the wolf pack. Conan's baffled.
So was I.
Disco says, we'll talk about it later. And off he goes.
That's it.
And then we did, in fact, have Wrath versus Renegade. So let me tell you the good news and the bad news, okay? The bad news is this went way too fucking long. It was only like 3 minutes, but it's Wrath and the Renegade. Mm-hmm. The good news is WCW, as fucking stupid as they were, they are still smarter than WWE, because if this match had been on Raw this past Monday, Renegade would have taken 2/3 of this match before Wrath would have beaten him.
That's true.
There's some long matches on Raw this week.
That's true.
Not just that, but Bo Dallas and Finn Balor. And Bo Dallas took 3 of the 4 minutes of the match. And Asuka and Alicia Fox. And Alicia Fox took 90% of the match. These fuckers even knew what to do.
You know what's a bad look is when you put fringe on the back of your tights. Your little tiny trunks, making it look like a tutu.
What's wrong with that?
That's what the Renegade was wearing tonight.
Well, maybe he was wearing a tutu. Maybe he's now a dancer.
Okay.
Wrath won, everybody.
Yeah,
It was ugly.
it was.
The match and the gear. So then we had the Disco thing, and then Disco says, I got a match. We'll talk about this later. Oh, this match. What diabolical mad genius put this together? Disco Inferno and Chavo Guerrero with the horse against Horace and Stevie Ray.
30,000 tickets, baby. And then they just had like a long wrestling match. And they went back and forth. And they had heat.
For a while, it was just a boring tag match. There was a heat on Disco. Chavo makes his comeback, and it's not very good, but it's not like offensively bad. And then it's time for the 4-way. And all 4 men and the ref were on 5 different pages of 5 different books in 5 different languages. This 4-way just went forever as guys tried to get in position for stuff. Over and over and over again. And the payoff is just the NWO hits a stuffed pile driver and pins Disco.
That was it. That was it.
The highlight of the match was when Larry Zbyszko calls Stevie Ray, and I quote, a big, mean guy.
Well, he is a big, mean guy.
It's accurate.
He really
It
is.
was accurate.
Nash comes out for a promo.
What was this brown shirt that he was wearing?
Thank you.
I don't usually bother talking about what people are wearing. Sure. I often don't notice. It certainly is not a talking point. This
was a brown velour button-up with long sleeves.
It's not just what it was, although that's a very fair question. Kevin Nash is enormous. Where did he find this oversized brown velvet or velour or whatever the hell it was button-up shirt?
The Big and Tall Pimp Shop. I'm guessing.
I mean, no normal-sized guy's wearing this fucking thing.
This was a shirt for a 10-foot man. So he puts himself in the 3-way.
No, let me get into this, because I talked about it earlier. He comes out here, he's mad. Mm-hmm. He says, Goldberg signed for 1 match and 1 match only, and it's versus me. He says, I am not allowing this match to take place here tonight. So first off, this guy's a babyface?
Sure.
Am I missing something
I
here?
have no idea what he is. He's Kevin Nash.
Second, what the fuck's he worried about? It's a non-title match. Your belt is not at stake here. It doesn't matter what happens in this match. You still get your match at Starrcade.
Mm-hmm.
I can only assume, and this was not explained, I'm connecting many dots that are very far apart. He is worried Bam Bam Bigelow will cripple Goldberg, and then the title match will be off.
Oh, well, you know, it might have been helpful if you would have said that.
Or the announcers.
Instead,
all 5 of them.
Comes out.
Or Gene.
He tells the fans they're not going to get the match they want to see. They boo the guy out of the building. And so then he says, well, fine, I'll be in the match. Which, by the way, forget it. I'll talk about it later.
Well, I just think it's funny. His exact words were, Big Sexy's making it a 3-way dance.
Yeah, 3-way dance.
So in storyline now, he has booking power?
No. We'll get to that.
Okay. Glacier versus Saturn.
I told you this was coming up. Last week I said this is going to happen, and it did.
Speaking of fashion, I think the cat may have been wearing the Vinny V jumpsuit. Not certain.
It's true.
It's very close to it.
It's very close.
So he explains he had hurt his ankle stepping out of his 1975 Cadillac, so he could not fight Saturn tonight. And then Glacier kicks Saturn, and the bell rings, and the promo continues, and I had no idea what was going on. Saturn makes a comeback.
Tony explained. He's talking about the main event, the 3-way dance. He says, nothing less than a Nitro explosion is coming tonight.
Oh.
Huh. Well, that didn't happen.
So Saturn makes a comeback. There's 30,000 people there, maybe 300 cared. Cat tries to hit. He tries to kick Saturn. Saturn ducks. Cat hits Glacier. The ref sees Cat hit Glacier, calls to the bell, and rewards the match to Glacier via DQ.
None of the announcers could figure out why Glacier won.
It was simple.
Including today.
Yeah.
They're absolutely baffled. They were so baffled that I rewound it because I thought
make sure?
maybe it's my mistake.
Yes.
Maybe it's not as clear cut as I thought it was. Nope. Shat hit Glacier. Therefore, Glacier won via DQ. Mm-hmm. What is so hard to figure out about this?
I don't know.
They went on and on about bad refereeing. And then, listen to me, everybody. Go watch Saturn give Scott Dickinson the Death Valley Driver. It's the funniest thing I have ever seen in my life. So, imagine Saturn kicks you in the gut and he's going to give you the Death Valley Driver. Mm-hmm. How would you react, everybody? Just make something up.
Surprised.
You, Vinny, you, the listeners, anybody. What would you do, Vinny?
I'd grab my stomach.
Okay, what'd you do, Craig?
I would act surprised, like, what is this madman doing?
Okay, then he hoists you up. What do you do, Vinny?
I scream.
What do you do, Craig?
Exactly.
This fucking Scott Dickinson, I swear to God.
You watched this much more closely than I did.
Dude, he stands there. Saturn kicks him. He doesn't move. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't change his facial expression. He doesn't do anything. Saturn hoists him up onto his shoulders. He doesn't move. He doesn't kick. He doesn't frown. He doesn't smile. He doesn't do anything. Saturn flips him over and he lands flat on his back and doesn't move a muscle ever again.
Crippled.
It is seriously the funniest attack I've ever seen in the history of pro wrestling. Vinny, Craig, listeners, what do they call it when you make the thing? Animated GIF?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm begging you. Make the animated GIF. I need this for my avatar on the board.
You know?
What do you call it when you make the thing?
I laughed so hard. I watched it over and over and over and over and over again. It literally was like, as soon as Saturn looked at him, he just died. And so Saturn booted him and then lifted him up and then gave him the move. He was a statue. This was the highlight of Nitro.
Apparently.
I should find it, play right here.
Lex Luger versus Emory Hale in his Nitro debut. Emory Hale was a guy who was around WCW forever. He was brought in by Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Hart. He's like 6'9".
That's why they brought him in.
Yeah, he's big and thick, and they thought maybe someday we'll be able to groom this guy into something we can make some money with. So that's who he was. And he's in there with Lex. And the end of the story is, sadly, he had a kidney transplant in 2003 and passed away in 2006.
That sucks.
That does suck. So he's in there with Lex. Lex gave him a lot.
A lot? He took the whole match.
Apparently, Emory Hale was Bo Dallas and Lex was Finn Balor. So eventually, For some reason, I know he's clearly an athletic guy, but he kept going to the top rope, which is a bad form for a giant. And if he missed a top rope splash, Lex and his goatee made a comeback and won with a torture rack, and everyone went crazy. This was a win when all was said and done. One of the better things on the show. Had a Nash Goldberg video package. It's 30 seconds long. Fine for what it was. Chris Jericho comes out for a promo, says he hates cowboys.
You know that his first gimmick was supposed to be Cowboy Chris Jericho?
I think he mentioned that last week. Something about Stu Hart trying to make... Yeah. So he's hated cowboys ever since.
I think it was Bulldog Bob Brown was going to give him that moniker.
So Ralph, this guy was amazing.
So amazing that there were fans in the crowd dressed like Ralphus. Half shirt, bellies.
Bellies. Lots of bellies. Well, it's a part of the costume.
It's true.
You couldn't have a lean, ripped Ralphus and destroy the joke. So they had like 5 minutes, had a perfectly fine little match, and Duncum tries a powerbomb. Jericho turns into a cradle, puts his feet on the ropes for the win. I guess this feud's over now.
You know what's amazing about it is there's one guy that can get a good match out of Bobby Duncum Jr., and it's Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
He's done it twice. What is amazing about it is I always look at these matches from a wrestler's perspective. I'm like, what would I do if I had to wrestle Bobby Duncum Jr.? I would idiot-proof this match. Jericho did not do that. Jericho did some things in this match that in 1,000 years I wouldn't have tried with Bobby Duncum, including the finish where Duncum goes for the power bomb. Jericho flips over him, which, by the way, almost breaks Duncum's neck because his own head gets in the way. But he pulls it off and gets his feet on the ropes and pins him. I was amazed by this match. This match was amazing.
Speaking of amazing, Giant is still on Nitro. Now, spoiler alert, everyone. I know for a fact Giant is in WWF in like 2 months. So he didn't have a no-compete deal at all?
He is leaving, and they're having him squash guys. Now, granted, Putski should not have beaten the Giant, but like, Giant should have been out there doing jobs for everybody on the way out. Mm-hmm. They're so stupid.
Mm-hmm. James Ellsworth got cut and had to wait 3 months before going on TV again.
Yeah, WCW didn't do those things.
Jesus.
Hey, look, like right after Bret Hart's contract expired, he was on Nitro.
That's
they didn't
true.
have those back
I guess
then.
that's true. So, well, when did Bret's contract expire? Was it not like...
It was like December 12th or something like that.
I see. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
It was not the day after Survivor Series.
Yeah, honestly, I just assumed it was.
No, that's why the whole thing is so stupid.
Well, no, because he could have dropped the belt later. Yeah. Regardless, Giant missed one chokeslam, hit another, and won. And he cut a promo calling Paige Leatherface. Said Paige had his attention. Challenged Paige to a match at Starrcade. Then he said, "I'm not making any of this up. Paige, you think you do all the banging in WCW? You're not the bang man. You've never even seen a bang." Anyway, he wants a match with Paige at Starrcade. Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko versus Raven and Konnan.
First, we had a segment backstage where
jeez,
Konnan is threatening to tape up Scott Steiner's ref.
Yes, I didn't even write this down.
It's creepy, but we'll get to it.
Yeah. So Raven still won't come out. Canyon's chewing him out.
Konnan says, "Raven, come on. We're going to get in trouble."
Yeah.
That was his exact words. "We're going to get in trouble."
Yeah.
To which Raven responds, "You're such a geek, Konnan."
That did happen. I should have written that down. That did happen.
He's telling the truth.
He's not wrong. So Konnan says Raven's old friends with Saturn and Roddy Piper broke him into the business and all. Okay, whatever. Then he comes out and says Raven won't come out here, so it's not going to be a tag match tonight, but I will face either you, Dean Malenko, or you, Chris Benoit, on Thunder.
Can I ask a question as a fan? Mm-hmm. Where in the fuck is this Raven thing going? They're paying this guy 6 figures for this fucking stupid storyline.
And he doesn't have to work.
Is this where Sandman comes in?
I could look it up. I don't care enough.
Hack?
Yes, hardcore hack.
I'm just baffled.
I mean, the Spring Stampede is the next year, and he's there then, so it's got to be sometime fairly soon. I don't know. It's an educated guess, but I don't know. So anyway, Konnan shoves Arn. Arn pulls out a crowbar. The Horseman beat Konnan up. He runs away.
Remember, everyone, Arn Anderson keeps a crowbar in his trousers.
Who doesn't?
Where else would you keep it?
That's a good point, actually.
Had an Eric Bischoff, Ric Flair video package.
Brian, I don't want to see your...
What's happening?
I don't want to see your crowbar. At least not again.
Talking about this Flair promo.
Christmas is coming, and what I'm getting for you, Brian, is...
Excuse me?
So, what? It's Christmas.
I'm getting an opaque
You
desk.
want an early Christmas?
I'm going to get an opaque desk, so I don't have to see you unzip your fly over and over again. Your desk is glass.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about that one right there.
Oh.
I was like, it's already opaque, you idiot. All right. This Flair promo was...
Flair's awesome.
Yeah, this was a great promo, getting back on track.
It was funny, because Dean and Benoit and Orange just stayed out there, and Mongo and Flair come out, and they're very calm and subdued and rational. And Flair shakes hands and hugs all his friends, including Mongo, who came out with him. But he just lets them all know that he loves them. And then he just grabs the mic and he snaps. The switch gets flipped. Tells Bischoff, get off your girlfriend or your treadmill. Listen up. Your dictatorship is about to come to an end. And they're in Houston. He starts listing all of the legends of Houston wrestling. Says they all gave their blood and sweat to give you jack off the job you have.
As soon as he says jack off, I don't know who it was, but it sounded like one of the announcers just took off their headset and threw it. Here's what he's going to do at Starrcade to Bischoff.
I wrote it all down too.
You did as well?
Yes.
He's going to choke him.
Check.
Gouge his eyes.
Check.
Kick him in the you-know-where.
Check.
Chop him.
Check.
Squeeze that skinny neck.
Check.
Until the blood runs down your nostrils
Check.
and your eyes pop out.
Check.
This is the greatest promo I've ever heard.
And finally you'll say that you respect Ric Flair. You're going to take...
Meanwhile, his eyes are bugging out, and he's turning 4 shades of red.
And blood doesn't pop out of anywhere at any point. Says they're going to take Bischoff's job, his life, his paycheck, and his dignity.
Well, actually, this is exactly what he said.
Girlfriend, too.
He's going to take his paycheck.
Friend.
This was the order. Your paycheck, your job, your life, and your dignity.
Yes.
Pretty much ends with the life, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty much, yeah. So they're going to take back the greatest sport in the world, professional wrestling. This was so great.
It was wonderful. He's the best promo of all time. It's not even close.
It's true. He was a good talker. He is a good talker.
He should be a motivational speaker. I was ready to charge hell with a squirt gun with him.
Have you seen his rap video?
No.
There's a rapper.
Ric Flair?
Yeah, it's new, right?
It's new.
I haven't bothered watching it, but I know about it.
I think the guy just sampled the woo. So he brought in Flair just to be Ric Flair next to him as he raps into the camera.
Sounds awesome.
It is great. Booker T versus Konnan.
Not great.
No.
Slow and boring. Stevie Ray walks out. Booker T goes up top, but Stevie hits the ring, lays out Konnan with a slapjack for the DQ.
He just walked in the ring, hit Konnan with it, and was like, what?
Yeah.
So dumb.
Booker's all mad. Stevie says, go ahead and hit me. And Booker says, that was my TV title. Stevie says, you need to be with me in the NWO. That's what's important. Did one of the 30,000 people care? I sure did.
It's impossible.
I hated it.
And they were in Houston. Scott Hall came out for a promo, said he was too stupid to quit wrestling.
Well,
so we had Scott Hall versus Scott Steiner.
Was it not Scott Dickinson that took that DVD from Saturn?
I don't remember.
I could have sworn it was, and he came out here. Do you know why Scott Dickinson came out?
That was Jimmy, or...
Corderas?
That's in WWF.
No.
Hart?
Crap.
Carter?
Ahead.
So, here's the whole key to this match. Steiner and Hall are brawling in the ring, and out hops Slick Johnson, taped up like a mummy.
Right. Now
This company is so fucking stupid, they can't even remember their own storylines. He hops out, and Scott Dickinson runs down and shoves him out of the way and runs to the ring to referee the match. They're now pretending that Steiner has hired this referee to screw all of the baby faces. They don't even remember that the whole reason he's there is because the WCW referees won't referee Steiner's matches. And now they tape the guy up so he can't interfere, and a WCW ref comes out and shoves him out of the way and rushes to the ring to officiate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this that hard?
What was also preposterous is Konnan went back there to quote unquote tape him up. He tapes him up and tapes up his mouth and everything, but then left enough room for the whistle.
That's the least of my problems here.
That's so stupid. Why would you do that?
Dude, how about the whole storyline was stupid? That's bigger than a damn whistle.
Anyway.
They had a big brawl. It was stupid. Fans loved it.
I'm going to try and play devil's advocate here.
Please.
The referees are afraid of Scott Steiner.
Yes.
Scott Steiner says, okay, I will hire my own ref. He will screw all my opponents, all my matches. Mm-hmm. So Scott Dickinson, or whoever this ref is, says, you know what? It's time to take a stand. And I shall put my life into my own hands for the good of the company. And we will screw this ref, and we'll go screw Scott Steiner and try to get a fair match out of this.
Well, we could add on top of everything else that it wasn't a match.
And in the end, it was not a match.
So what the hell was going on here?
Well, it was going to be a match, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a match.
Yeah. The NWO ran in and attacked Hall. Luger and Konnan and Giant run out, and Paige hits the ring with a chair. Now, this is the kind of thing, it sounds awful. There's 7,000 things going on at once. It all leads to nothing. It's all the same brawl you've ever seen. This crowd did not love everything on the show, but they loved this anarchy and chaos.
Hey, they loved it. And then DDP ran down, laid out Giant with a chair. That sets up their match at Starrcade. I mean, it wasn't a total disaster, but this referee bullshit was just infuriating. It's my pet peeve.
Always has been.
Referee bullshit.
Mean Gene brings Bret Hart out for a promo. The three best things in the show, Rey Mysterio, Ric Flair, and Bret Hart.
Yeah, but this was kind of disappointing.
I don't think so.
He only had one funny line when he said the fans were throwing things at Gene.
Oh, no, that wasn't even his best line. His best line is when he says, Dallas Page, you can fight me for the title, or you can fight the Giant. You're probably better off taking the coward's way out and fighting the Giant than fighting me. So now he's got no match. So instead of hyping a match, he hypes up himself. What a great accomplishment this was, winning back the U.S. title. This proves how excellent I am. And then garbage hits the ring, and Gene says, or Bret says, these people are throwing garbage at you, Gene. And he wraps up, and he's done. And Gene says, oh, by the way, Bret's in a documentary called Wrestling with Shadows. You should go watch it. Okay.
Afterthought.
Yeah.
You know, when he came out and there were like 9 minutes left on the show.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew what was going to happen in the main event, but it was still like, are you kidding me?
Well, let me tell you the worst part about it. Michael Buffer starts the ring intros for the main event, and then my computer just won't play Nitro anymore.
Oh, no.
The last 2 minutes of this show seriously took me more than 10 minutes to watch.
And there were only 2 minutes left in the show.
Did you at least get to hear how Michael Buffer described Bam Bam Bigelow?
I heard him pronounce his name Bam Bam Bigelow.
Bam Bam runs down to the ring in just a
Sweatpants.
shirt with no sleeves
Not even flames on it.
and a
Just a
pair of
guy.
sweatpants. And Buffer describes him as, and I quote, a man who has literally bullied his way from paid admission to ring center for tonight's main event.
He's not wrong. That's what happened.
Who writes this shit for
Michael
him?
Buffer.
That's impossible. They said he'd been granted a license for one match only tonight.
So Bam Bam gets a full intro, and Kevin Nash runs faster than you've ever seen Kevin Nash run before in your life.
They're running out of time.
I guess so. He runs down and starts brawling with Bam Bam. Goldberg starts running out, although he does take the time to high-five Roger Clemens backstage. That made me laugh.
Well, I would have done the same thing.
And then he runs in the ring. As soon as Goldberg hits the ring, the bell rings. I don't know if it was to start the match or end the match. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it was to end the match. The ref's waving it off. Here's what I concluded.
Okay.
When Kevin Nash came out and added himself to this match,
Right.
he was just making up shit.
Sure.
The match was still Goldberg versus Bam Bam Bigelow. So as soon as both men were in the ring and Nash was in the ring, it was a DQ.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the way I saw it as well.
This is so stupid.
That's really stupid. So that was it. That was the end of the show. They brawled for 30 seconds and Geek separated them, and that was it.
I was really looking forward to Bam Bam and Goldberg.
Yeah.
Well, one of these days you'll get it.
So here we go. Finisher report.
Oh, this should be good.
Actually, it's amazing the swing that happens on this show.
You really need theme music for this, by the way.
I'll get some someday.
Okay.
Clean pin. Submission to a hold that was not on. Clean pin. Clean pin. Clean pin. Should I start over now?
Yes.
Okay. From the beginning. The finishers on this episode of Nitro. A clean pin. A submission to a hold that was not locked on. 3 clean pins in a row. And I thought, wow, this show's amazing. They figured it out. And then DQ because Cat kicked the wrong guy. A clean submission. Pin with a feet on the ropes. A clean pin. And the final 3, DQ due to slapjack. DQ due to gang attack. Some kind of DQ in that 3-way main event.
Huh.
There we go.
That sucked.
You need an applause sound effect when we're done with the music. Do you have that handy? Or just for everything I say? There we go.
There we go.